1800 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Farzana Khan. First, the headlines. Prime Minister has expressed gratitude to the SEO member states for supporting Pakistan in rescue and relief efforts during the recent devastating floods. Addressing the annual meeting of Council of Heads of State of Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Uzbekistan today, Sharif reaffirmed Pakistan's strong resolve in advancing the SCO objectives. Pakistan and China have reiterated the firm resolve to take their bilateral relations to greater heights. Pakistan welcomes the developmental partners and enterprises from around the world to consider opportunities in special economic zones. The Kashmiri leadership in Geneva has urged the UN Human Rights Council to appoint a commission of inquiry to investigate the grave human rights violations by Indian troops in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The United States has imposed sanctions on Russian officials and companies in a bid to increase pressure on Moscow over Ukrainian issue. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Sharif has called for devising a sustainable plan to mitigate adverse impacts of climate change and to save future generations. He was addressing the annual meeting of the Council of Heads of State of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Samarkand, Uzbekistan today. The Prime Minister appealed to the SCO members to stand up and build a wall against the threat of climate change. The Prime Minister also expressed gratitude to members of the SCO who supported Pakistan in this hour of need. Talking about Afghanistan's situation, the Prime Minister said peace in Afghanistan will ensure peace in Pakistan and the region. He said we need to collectively work to support all good initiatives in Afghanistan for its people. He said ignoring Afghanistan this time around will be a great mistake. The Prime Minister said strengthening Afghanistan in the security and counter-terrorism domain should run parallel to SCO's support to the Afghan people in the socio-economic arena. He urged international community to support efforts to build sustainable Afghan economy and unfreeze its financial assets. Sharif said Pakistan has been victim of terrorism itself and the country has paid huge sacrifices in defeating terrorism. He urged the members of the SCO to join hands together in fighting against the menace of terrorism, extremism and separatism. The Prime Minister reaffirmed Pakistan's strong resolve in advancing the objectives of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Pakistan and China have reiterated the firm resolve to take their bilateral relations to greater heights. An understanding to this effect was reached during the meeting between Prime Minister Sharif and Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the SCO Council of Heads of State Summit in Samarkand today. The two leaders agreed to build a Pak-China community for shared future in the new era. In his welcoming remarks, the Chinese President described Prime Minister Mohammad Sharif as a person of pragmatism and efficiency and a leader with a long-standing commitment to China-Pakistan friendship. Sharif underlined that all-weather strategic cooperative partnership and iron brotherhood between the two countries has always withstood the test of time. He briefed President Xi Jinping about Pakistan's policies for sustainable growth, industrial development, agriculture modernization, and regional connectivity. Appreciating the impact of CPEC on Pakistan's socio-economic development, the Prime Minister reaffirmed his government's commitment to high-quality development of the CPEC projects. He commended the Chinese President's visionary Belt and Road Initiative and Global Development Initiative for sustainable development and win-win outcomes. Both the leaders welcomed the signing of framework agreement on ML1 railway project. 87 trucks carrying humanitarian assistance from Tajikistan have reached Jamrud via Torkham border. According to the Foreign Office spokesperson, the handing over ceremony was attended by advisor to the Prime Minister on Political and Public Affairs, Amir Muqam, Tajik Ambassador to Pakistan, Ismatullah Nasruddin, along with representatives of NDMA and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Humanitarian assistance from Tajikistan was welcomed with warmth and gratitude. Canadian government has announced to match individual donations up to a total of 3 million Canadian dollars through the humanitarian coalition of 12 charitable organizations collecting funds and donations in Canada in response to the flooding in Pakistan. Speaking at a webinar, High Commissioner of Pakistan to Canada, Zahir Janjua, said Pakistan has been hit by floods on a large scale. He also appreciated the Canadian government and the people for initially committing an aid of $5 billion and then backing it up with another $25 million of funding in response to the impact of flooding in Pakistan. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. Pakistan welcomes development partners and enterprises from around the world to strengthen investment and trade linkages and consider opportunities in special economic zones. This was stated by Additional Secretary for Asia Pacific of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs while chairing a briefing in Islamabad today regarding the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor for resident diplomatic missions of several countries from East and Central Asia and the Middle East. The Additional Secretary emphasized that the CPEC had added a new dimension in the Pakistan-China all-weather strategic cooperative partnership, which was based on mutual understanding and respect. Thanking the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and relevant government departments for the briefing, participating diplomatic missions underscored abiding mutual interest in enhancing economic cooperation. In Geneva, Kashmiri representatives, including Altaf Hussain Wani, taking part in general debate during ongoing 51st session of UN Human Rights Council, urged the world body to appoint a commission of inquiry to investigate into the grave human rights violations perpetrated by Indian troops in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. They also urged the Council to utilize UN mechanisms to protect the life and dignity of people of occupied territory. The United States has imposed sanctions on Russian officials and companies in a bid to increase pressure on Moscow over Ukraine issue. In a statement, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the United States continues to hold the Russian government to account for its war crimes against Ukraine. In addition, the U.S. Commerce and Treasury Department issued ban on the export of quantum computing technology and related software and hardware to Russia and Belarus. The United Nations has warned that the world is facing a global emergency of unprecedented magnitude due to war in Ukraine. This was stated by Executive Director of the UN World Food Programme, David Beasley, and UN Humanitarian Chief Martin Griffiths while speaking at the Security Council. The UN Humanitarian Chief urged the Security Council to leave no stone unturned in trying to end conflicts and to step up financing for humanitarian operations. The International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer was observed today across the globe. The theme of the day this year is Global Cooperation Protecting Life on Earth. The day is marked to create awareness about the importance and need of the ozone layer, which is the single protection on Earth against ultraviolet rays coming out from the sun. And finally, the weather report. Mainly hot and dry weather is likely to prevail in most plain areas of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain with wind and thunderstorm is expected at isolated places in Upper Punjab, Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.